Hello, testing. All right, yeah, working. All right. So I am Hunter Mathis, and this is my final project. I'm doing a presentation, as you can probably already tell, and my visual kind of help is basically going to be me going over my actual writing and like the actual documentation of my notes, and then also at the same time going over the Word document that I turned in for the outline, essentially just going over all the key points and making sure it all is correct. So for my outline, the introduction that I chose, let's see. The purpose of my project was to obviously learn about the societal system and interactive normalities of the people that, I can find in whatever setting I chose. The setting that I ended up choosing was the Hattiesburg tutorial, or I'm sorry, Hattiesburg's Turtle Creek Mall. Uh, and for that, I chose to do a participant observation, and three separate times I went. The methodology that I chose to use, or the methodological reflections that I chose to use was I really felt like I was overstepping my personal boundaries, because if this situation was flipped and I was, say, a person that was, just out in public being kind of studied, like a wild animal, I would feel a little bit uncomfortable. I wouldn't think that I would be okay with it, but also at the same time, is most people, I feel like it doesn't really matter, because most people, they aren't doing anything weird, so it's okay, I think. I also found that it's very interesting to monitor people for so long and kind of get to know them on a certain personal level, where like you don't know people without these interactions, and everyone has their own specific customs or like ways that they like to interact. Most people also aren't really paying attention to anyone else. As if they're with a group or they're by themselves. If they're with a group, they just focus on their group, talk with them themselves. Or if they're by themselves, they normally are just like in their phone or just paying attention to where they're trying to get. People also act very differently depending on the location that they are at or the actions that they are doing. I found that a lot of the people that I saw, depending on if they were sitting there waiting or if they were actively on, like, had a task, they would act differently. Things that I found also inside that would kind of help my methodological reflections. Let's see. Describe what you did at the site. So whenever I was at the site, I basically just went up and sat down at a food court and observed the large, because like, at the food court you can see all the shops as well as the food court. So I kind of got a good mix of all of the types of situations. That's like all the reason that someone would be at the mall. I was able to observe. Uh, Most people, like they were just sitting on their phones, eating, waiting in lines, walking to and from stores, or trying to find their people. Everyone had a mission, and everyone knew, like, nobody was really there just hanging out. Everyone like kind of had like they were hanging out, but everyone had a mission. They were there with a purpose, and whenever you were there, you could definitely tell that everyone had a mission. Uh, I fit into the site by basically just like sitting and acting like I was eating, like while I ate or while I was after done eating. I would just sit there. Uh, let's see. This is main. Reflect on what it was like using the method for project. Those of you doing. The process was very uncomfortable, but also at the same time interesting. I enjoyed being able to kind of feel like I was an undercover spy, but at the same time felt like I was intruding on people, and I shouldn't be doing that. Uh, let's see the findings. So you found out, obviously, a small project. Okay, so my findings that I chose or that I found. The mall is a place where a lot of people from all walks of life come together. They find a similar interest, where like food or shopping, and there's something for everyone there. Like, typically is everyone has a certain custom, and whenever you're out in public, you tone down your true self and kind of just become a generic blob. Like you kind of just become what you think society expects from normal people. Like obviously when you go home, you weird out and be yourself and do the crazy things. But when you're out in public, you turn yourself down and you become more of a generic version of a human. People aren't really aware of their surroundings and typically just want to be ignored. People really don't seem to be like they really just want to get to and from. They don't like being out. At least from my experience, it looked like people didn't really want to be out in public. They just wanted to get done with whatever they were waiting for or whatever what they were doing. I also seem to be pretty dismissive. Like they just wanted to get around all of the commotion and just get to where they wanted to go. The foot traffic in the food court rushes would increase with certain times and days to the point where the entire place being filled for hours, while other times there wouldn't be anyone really. Like it would kind of be a ghost town. In conclusion, the project was delving into societal norms and habitual behaviors that I observed while being at the Turtle Creek Mall. Uh, Pretty much everyone was normal. I don't really know. I didn't see anything crazy, but everyone was just kind of in their own system of like, this is what I need to do. This is how I'm going to do it, and there was purpose and intent with pretty much everything. That's it wasn't just a place of hanging out. Really, everyone was there with a mission. Convince him. Let's see. Sorry, I'm reading over the side like points for your final project just to make sure I'm going over all the points that you want. Do not end your findings. Wrap up the project with final conclusions. Sum up your findings. Second talk. You've. Oh yeah. I also noticed that a lot of the people were kind of like disturbed by not getting what they wanted instantly. Like there was a lot of instances where, there were well like something like this where, a family was having an outing with their kid and their kid did not get what they wanted. So I kind of got to witness a tantrum like on how they dealt with it. I also started to focus on what people would do whenever they interacted with cashiers and how they would basically interact before and after. Interactions, I think, are way more than just the words. It's how you talk, how the tone, the context, and really like if you're sitting there and you're talking to someone like, "Hey, I want some food," and then 20 minutes later you have to wait and then walk back up to then re-engage with the same person. It's a you have a pretty good uh chance to understand how somebody approaches a social interaction from situations like that. I feel like uh for the most part everyone really really was just in their own world, didn't really do anything crazy. uh let's see, anything else for future research? Something interesting should be explored in future research. I think most of the restaurants, just basically, as long as it takes time to cook the food, if they can't instantly somehow cook it to perfection, then that's like it. That's like all I can say for them to do better. It seemed like the biggest problem would be like waiting or kind of like the consumerism of wanting it now and they can't have it now I'd say to be the biggest problem. But, it's just impossible to fix that. It takes time to do things right. So other than that, I think that would be the biggest problem that I witnessed. But yeah, I guess that's it. Thank you very much for your time.